Hello, and welcome to episode number 23 of Zach's Tech Talk Tuesday. It's our Jordan episode. My name is Ryan McQueeney, and on this week's show, we will be turning our attention towards the desert, towards the beautiful, sunny Las Vegas, Nevada, the home of the annual Consumer Electronics Show, CES, going on right now. We're going to be discussing why NVIDIA has already won the world's largest technology conference. Sure, CES is not a competition per se, but those with their eyes on the mega show know that it has evolved into a battleground within the tech industry over the past few years. CES is not only where you go to show off in front of your industry rivals, but it is where journalists and tech reviewers go to get their hands on new products for the very first time. The sentiment and the vibe of what comes out of CES is so critical for your company. As I said, the largest consumer technology show in the world. All eyes are in Las Vegas this week, and it's just critical for these companies to have a good show. NVIDIA, the Santa Clara, California-based chip-making giant that we all know and love, of course, specializes in high-performance graphics processing units used by PC gamers, but has grown into a player in many emerging fields. They've made a tradition of kicking off the event with a high-energy press conference packed with big news, typically big surprises. In recent years, it has debuted the Drive PX AI automotive computing platform, which we'll get to even more later, the Shield game streaming platform, and a self-driving car partnership in front of the massive crowd in Las Vegas. More really on all of those things this year. On Sunday night, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang once again kicked off CES, and once again he surprised us all. First, the chief executive continued the tradition of announcing new partnerships. NVIDIA announced a new partnership with Uber. Of course, we know that Uber has been working on self-driving cars for quite a while now, and we already knew that NVIDIA's CES presentation was going to center on its automotive technology, but we did not necessarily see this NVIDIA-Uber tie-up coming. And apparently, Uber, like many others in this field, has picked NVIDIA to be its AI and autonomous driving partner. And within this same world of self-driving cars, NVIDIA announced that we are getting an update to the company's Drive chip series, that same series of chips that it debuted at CES a few years ago, geared towards intelligent cars. This new Xavier chip is being hailed as the world's most powerful system on a chip solution. And remember, guys, system on a chip products are what NVIDIA is focusing on here. It's the same type of solution that a company like Mobileye is working on for Intel. And it's a product that can do super fast calculations without using up much energy, which makes them perfect for electric vehicles as well. And what we know so far about this new Xavier chip is, again, being hailed as the most powerful system on a chip, and NVIDIA saying that it will start to be delivered this quarter. I also found it really interesting that NVIDIA has seemingly not forgotten about the core foundation of its business, video gamers. Of course, the gaming division is still the largest in terms of revenue generation for the company. That might be something that changes within the next 5 to 10 years, but still not only the foundation, the largest source of revenue, and kind of really that core demographic that has helped NVIDIA reach the point it is at today. And what was a kind of a surprise to many, NVIDIA also announced so-called big format gaming displays. These should basically look like giant computer monitors that are optimized for high-end gaming. NVIDIA said that these displays should be available by the summer. They also kind of reiterated some points about the upcoming game streaming platform. It's going to be launched on Windows in an open beta format soon. And the idea here is that games are run on NVIDIA's own high-powered machines, allowing users without top-of-the-line gaming rigs to play modern games by streaming them online. So, just to kind of recap, what we've seen this year at this year's CES presentation is that NVIDIA is still committed to its traditional business, while at the same time working to expand its partnerships in many growing industries that it as a company is threatening to revolutionize over the next few years. Now, from our investing perspective, we should also note that NVIDIA shares gained about 3.5% on Monday. Investors were really excited about these announcements, and of course, the first day of trading since Jensen Huang kicked off the event. To kind of expand on this post-CES run, I recently took a look at NVIDIA's post-CES history and found some interesting things. In the past 7 years, shares of NVIDIA have gained in the slightly more than 1 month period between the opening of CES. So I was looking at the closing price before the first day of CES, the most recent close before the first day of CES, and then 1 calendar month after the end of the last day of the event. Past 5 out of 7 years, that has been that period has seen gains for NVIDIA. Its biggest gains were last year when the stock ran 11.5% higher in that time period, and in 2011 when the stock gained a staggering 37.2% in that period. Typically, right at the end of that kind of little over a month period that I'm talking about, mid-February is when NVIDIA will release its most recent earnings report. So you're seeing a kind of combination of post-CES excitement and that build up to what have been some remarkable earnings reports over the past several years for NVIDIA. So there's some things to note as far as post-CES trends. And finally, I'd like to borrow some words here from one of our equity strategists here at Zacks, Kevin Cook. Cooker recently highlighted NVIDIA in a Bull of the Day post last week. He, I think, tackled perhaps the biggest question surrounding the stock, which is, should you buy it at 50 times earnings? Cook said, quote, "In sum, as long as the leading provider of gaming processors, high-performance computing in data centers, and emerging AI technologies keeps delivering solid double-digit sales and earnings growth, along with upside surprises each quarter, then paying 48 times the current projection for next year's profits isn't a bad proposition." End quote. Couldn't have said it better myself. That's why I stole the quote from him. I think it's an excellent point highlighting the kind of 3 key areas that we're really talking about here with NVIDIA, which is, as I said, that traditional gaming business still being that core. It's really the first choice for serious PC gamers out there. High performance computing for data centers. Data centers really was the growth catalyst in 2017. Seeing upwards of 50% growth in that category. And, talking about basically everyone with a cloud is using NVIDIA's hardware. And then having the company as merged as probably the top pure play AI choice on Wall Street over the past year or so. A ton of just almost we can't even fathom how much upside is there yet. And that's something that people who are buying and holding NVIDIA for the long term are pointing to as kind of that long-term growth catalyst. So yeah, there's a lot of things to love about NVIDIA. Of course, traditional value investors are going to look at 50 times earnings and scratch their head, maybe raise an eyebrow or two. But with the type of potential that we're still seeing for NVIDIA in today's tech stock market, that's just kind of what you have to pay for companies like this. And so, yeah, I think it's not necessarily a bad buy at 48, 50 times earnings. It is a Zacks ranked number 1 strong buy right now, and one to keep your eye on this week, next month, next year, and basically forever, as we look for NVIDIA to be a dominant force in the tech industry for years to come. That just about does it for us this week. As a reminder, guys, if you feel that we missed something or if you want us to cover a different story, shoot us an email at podcast@zax.com. Make sure to check out all of our other audio content at zax.com/podcasts. And remember to subscribe and leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts. As always, thank you for listening to the Zax Tech Talk Tuesday. We will see you next time.